Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Well, how will you appraise the security situation of the country as of now, as we speak?
Well, we will not shy away from it. We know we have security challenges, and virtually all the geopolitical zones has its own peculiar security challenge. If you go to the northeast, for instance, you have the issue of Boko Haram and the insurgents there. You go to northwest, we have the issue of kidnapping, mass kidnapping, banditry. Same thing with north central. Then you come to the southeast, you talk of the issue of agitation for the state of Biafra, which is accompanying kidnappings and what have you. Then you go to south-south, you have the issue of resource control, which is virtually under control now. But what is going on now in Rivers State, I'm afraid we might go back to those bad days of agitation. But I hope the government will be able to handle the situation before it escalates. Then if you go to the southwest, we also have the issue of kidnapping, agitation, and the rest of it. So virtually all parts of the country are witnessing various degrees of its own security challenges. On the part of government, I think government is trying to resolve the crisis, but I think we need to do more. If you agree with me that there have been some reduction in terms of the challenges of mass kidnapping and in the northwest. That is not to say that we are there yet. We are not there yet, but with concerted efforts from the security agencies and the cooperation of the public and the society, I think we'll make some progress.
Now, in your own thinking, is the security working very well? The security, I'm talking of the security agencies now, in trying to curtail these insurgents and the bandits.
I wouldn't say they are working very well, and I wouldn't say they are doing badly. My reasons are obvious. You see, people are worried and concerned about the security situation in the country, because without security, there won't be any meaningful development. If you look at other sectors in the country, what have our challenges? Is it agriculture, or is hunger in the land? People are angry, but the security agencies are not operating in isolation of the society. So it's what the government provides. It's what the security agencies are working. So we need to increase our funding. But you also know that this year, this 2023-2024 budget, will have the largest allocation of fund to the security. That will show you the concern of government. But again, they cannot operate outside what they have in terms of training, in terms of funding, in terms of welfare. It is the general situation that pervades all the society. So within the available resources, within the available means, they are trying their best.
But sir, let me take it to one instance, because security men are being paid to handle the situation we have in the country now. And amongst them, you have a few bad eggs that are informants to those that we are supposed to fight. So how do you think they came into that level of being against the Nigerian state?
Well, that's a very critical question you've asked. And I have various fora recommended that the security agency should look inwards to weed out the bad eggs. Don't forget that these people you are talking of are Nigerians. They are not imported. They are also Nigerians. They have their own economic hardship. They have their own domestic challenges, extended families, but that's not justifying it. But you see, when people, it's what you sow. It's like computer, garbage in, garbage out. So it's what you feed to the security agencies that you get. That's not justifying. We agree, we have some bad eggs in the only way we can overcome this is to weed and look inwards. I'll give you a typical example. When I was a victim of kidnap, 4 of the 12 people who were involved in my kidnap were serving soldiers. And they told me. So this kidnapping cannot continue without the connivance of the bad eggs within the security. We shouldn't run away from it. We must admit the fact that, yes, there are bad eggs, but they must be fished out.
So how can Nigeria correct this one? Is it by us going our separate ways? Like, for instance, they are we are talking about regions. Biafra is talking about Biafra nation. The Southwest is talking about Oduduwa. Is that the way to go?
That's not the way to go. I'm a very strong advocate of one united Nigeria. I believe very strongly in the unity of this country. We have diverse background. We have, instead of using our strength, we are using it to further divide ourselves. And I think our diversity should be a source of strength. There's nothing we don't have in this country. But in government allocating resources, there must be fairness, there must be equity, there must be justice. Once these variables are observed, then there will be less agitation. In terms of distribution of offices, we have provision for federal character. Are we observing the federal character? Because of our multifaceted, multi-ethnic composition and multi-religious composition, we must look at all those things in distributing our resources. Otherwise, some people will feel marginalized. The Southeast, for instance, is saying that they are marginalized. They are not represented they are not in the scheme of affairs. Yeah. So if government will begin to address these issues, like the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, it's my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody. If the government can take the bold step of going out of court to settle this matter, because a political problem and it requires a political solution, I think we'll be making headway.
But don't you think it will further escalate it, because that's what the government is afraid of?
I don't think it will escalate it. I don't think it will escalate it, because the people fomenting this trouble now behind the scene are claiming that because Nnamdi Kanu is in custody or in detention, illegal detention, as according to what they say, that's why they are embarking on sit at home. But you can't continue to do the same thing the same way and expect different results. So why don't you give a conditional release? You should do this, and watch whether things will change. If things don't change, it's not above the law. Nobody's above the law.
What you said a while ago,
yes,
you are very much in support of Nigeria being together as one country.
Oh yes.
So in that case, Nigerians want to be together. Some are saying that let's go federalism. Others are saying let's go parliamentary. Which is your own now?
Of course, we are a federal system of government, but you own our own federalism. The sub-nationals, the governors are like emperors. In fact, the president of Nigeria is one of the most powerful presidents in the world. The center is too strong, so we need to remove powers from the center and divert them to the sub-nationals, to the states. Then the center will no more be attractive. We're talking of regionalism. I don't think we should be going back, because from regionalism we went to federalism, and now that we're practicing federalism, let's practice true federalism. Okay. That's the way to go, because there's no state in this country that will not on its own survive. No. But because of this our feed-the-bottle approach that at the end of the month, everybody rushes to the center to take allocation. That's the problem we have. Everybody is lazy. But if you make everybody work and pay taxes to the center, they will work and work. Whether you have oil, it's immaterial. That you have oil does not mean that people who are good in agriculture should not concentrate on agriculture. Food is very, very important. And we have vast land, agricultural land that can be developed in this country to feed and even export to other countries. But because we are concentrating on oil, look at the prices of fuel now. And nobody is complaining.
People are complaining.
People are complaining,
Yeah,
but
because that affected the food
people
stock.
are complaining, but they go join the queue to buy the fuel at that exorbitant price. So Nigerians are very easy people to govern.
Now, if you talk about states managing their resources instead of coming to the center to look for federal allocation, you know that some states will be disadvantaged.
No.
Because, oh yeah,
No state will be disadvantaged.
some don't have the mineral resources others have.
Yes, I agree that others have, others don't have. But if
So
you,
what happens to those states that
this,
don't have?
we still maintain the federal structure, the federal government is still going to take care of less privileged states. It's like the argument people are putting up in the issue of state police. Every state cannot afford state police. The ones that can afford it, and the tension, the center will have less problem. When the subnationals are having less problems, the center will have less problem. So it's not every state that can afford, the state police. It's just like some states, you can even establish regional bodies. Like you have virtually all the geopolitical zones have their own development corporation now. Well, all of them have. Except I think Southwest that has not been given that Southwest Development body commission like that, and South. South has Niger Delta.
Yes,
Development
Niger Delta
encompasses,
yes.
in fact, Abia and other states.
Yes.
So if everybody has it, the governors within those geopolitical zones can form alliance and come into assistance of the less privileged states and carry them along. But the problem we're having is that we cannot, where everybody is afraid to practice or go through federalism. I can tell you that there's no state. If you go to Zamfara, for instance, gold is being mined illegally.
Yes.
So why don't the state take over that and pay tax to the center? Are you talking of Nasarawa, where you have large vast of land, or Federal Capital Territory, or Benue, that is known as the food basket of the nation? Or is it a Plateau State, where people go on holiday to enjoy themselves? But these things are no more. But if you allow the states to control this, I think we'll make a lot of progress.
You talked about allowing states to own their police. The fear in the average Nigerians, and indeed politicians, is, for instance, if APC is in charge of that state and they have state police, the governor will be in charge and use it against the opponent. That should express that fear.
In that case, we should abolish the Nigerian police. Is the Nigerian police not being abused now? No. You see, I'm a lawyer. If your right is abused, you go to court to enforce your rights. If anybody, because he's a governor, because he's controlling state police, and
you can only go to court when you are alive.
Well, if you are not alive, you have dependents who can enforce your rights. So I don't see that as a fear at all of a state. Like, people have agitated, and I'm beginning to align with them on this State Independent Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
Once the State Independent Electoral Commission conducts an election, the party in power in the state,
sweeps,
with no exception, sweeps all the seats. Well, it's not possible. But
that is the fear with state police.
Let the fear remain there. Don't forget that Nigerian police will be there. We are not scrapping Nigerian police because we say the state police. They will be working side by side, and they will be given adequate training. Their lines, their functions will be, they will be lined in terms of their functions alongside with the federal police. Minor crimes, volunteering information to the police, to security agencies, they will be trained in that line. When it comes to political matters, then they should put off their hands there. Police is not even, Nigerian police is not even supposed to be involved in politics. But you can see everybody getting involved in politics. Even our judiciary, they are not helping matters. Judiciary is not helping. Maybe you can go to any court now, get an injunction, get a restraining order, get a judgment, and before the eyes of, it used to be said that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. Is it that now? The answer is, of course, no.
Okay, let me take you to another issue, and that is about what we have now, the petroleum 50 naira. 150,000 naira. A bag. As against 35,000 naira that it used to be now. What, in your candid opinion, do you think it should ought to have been as Nigeria a nation now?
Well, I've heard this in several times, that removal of subsidy was not in the president's speech.
It was not.
Before then, I didn't see the president's speech to know whether it was there or not. But if you also recall that all the presidential candidates promised to remove the subsidy.
Yes.
But the approach, the method of removing the subsidy
differs.
They didn't tell us how they were going to remove. In this particular case, no arrangement was made to alleviate the sufferings of the people before the subsidy was removed. So that in itself is wrong. And we've continued to drift further in that direction because of the hardship. And you recall the end bag governance protest.
Yes.
But after then, what happened? The price of fuel still went up. And nobody is complaining again. October 1st, they called for a protest. It wasn't a success. So I think government should not, lay back because people are not complaining. Because my fear is that one day this country may snap. There's a level to which people can tolerate and it becomes unbearable. And see people going to the street. So I believe that government is also addressing the issues to see that the sufferings of the masses are alleviated, because he said that a hungry man is an angry man.
Now, I want to take you to Rivers. Last weekend, we had elections in 3 states, local government elections, Akwa Ibom, Benue, and Rivers State. But that of Rivers was so pronounced. In fact, it filtered from Rivers to every part of the country because of one man who is self-acclaimed godfather. Do you think it's supposed to be like that? And what do you know about the silence of the president at the center of all this?
Well, you are taking me to an area I don't like discussing. I discuss security. I don't discuss politics.
As in Nigeria, let's talk about
because
you may have friends over there.
I am not a politician, and I don't intend to be one. But what is happening in Rivers is not only in Rivers. This issue of godfatherism has been the greatest challenge we face in this country. You remember I started in Anambra with Ngige being installed, and thereafter he fell out with the godfathers. We've had series of examples. So I don't know why the governors on leaving will not allow people to their successors, allow people to pick their successors. They will always want to impose the people, and at the end of the day, they will fall out. So my advice is that if you know you are doing the right thing as a governor, don't insist on producing your successor. Allow the people to choose who rules them. Politics, for me, is about service to the people. And you don't have to kill the people. Because if you finish killing the people, there will nobody for you to govern or to rule. So the issue of godfatherism must be addressed. Nobody is an island or has the monopoly of wisdom. That if you are not there, then nobody must be there. That's what is happening in Rivers.
Well, finally, sir, I want you to tell us how you want to feel, because some of us have passed through the 70s, the 80s, and up till now, and we know how Nigeria used to be then in terms of security. You can move anywhere without being harassed. Sir, what is the Nigeria of your dream, and how would you want our own generation coming behind us to look at it?
Well, incidentally, it's a very, very, very interesting question. Because one, I witnessed the Nigerian independence. I was in primary school when Nigeria gained independence. We enjoyed free education, up to, not just free education, free compulsory primary education under the Western Nigeria. To the glory of God, I'm already 70, and I tell people, the upcoming youths, I say, my consolation and regret. One, consolation is that where I'm going to is closer than where I'm coming from. Then, my regret is that our upcoming youths have a lot of work to do, and they need to be guided by the elders. But the elders are not doing, the elders are setting bad examples. I was watching, I think Father Ehuseni's program the other day. You are blaming the elders. It is the youths of this country that brought us to where we are. You ask how?
How?
The military coup, Zik and Awolowo, all of them, they were in their youths when Nigeria got independence. The youths fought and got independence for us. The military intervention were promoted by youths between 25 and 30. And you are calling, what's his name? Dieter Spieth was 21.
Yes.
As a military
Head of state.
governor of Rivers State.
Yes.
And these are the people who set this country back. And the youths have now learned that you must shoot your way. Hard work does not pay anymore. So, my advice is that the youths must take leadership and correct the anomalies or the wrongs of the past by our elders, because the elders who are currently ruling now are the people who brought the problem to us. They are the people who brought the problem. So we need reorientation of the youths to love this country. There's so much corruption in Nigeria. We must fight corruption and let people know that hard work pays, and that this illegal money people are acquiring, at the end of the day, you are not going with anything. Vanity upon vanity, they say, is vanity. So all this blind acquisition of wealth will not help us. Let us think about our country, Nigeria, and think for ourselves.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Very grateful.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.